Talk about the James Holmes case and how it is possible that there was a second shooter. Probably was, maybe even two shooters, two people in the theater, and a third Patsy, which a lot of us have always thought was definitely possible. But if the facts start to prove that, then yeah, we're gonna have to run with that even further. And instead of just saying it calmly, we're gonna have to scream it and shout it out. So that's kind of where we're at now. And I've always wondered about that blood trail where you have the parking lot, and then you have James Holmes's car. You have the exit here, and then there's a blood trail that goes all the way off into the distance, way past where they found the second gas mask. So John Rappaport was saying that it's possible that maybe they had kidnapped some girl or had kidnapped some child or something. And so that led me to think, well, is there anybody missing? And the only report that I could find that there was somebody missing from the school, from the movie theater shooting, was a 27-year-old kid, 26-year-old kid. His father was telling the people at the school to find my son. So haven't seen anything else beyond that, but it does make you wonder, well, why was there that blood trail leading away from the crime scene, basically, where somebody could be picked up or where they could jump on there's a street called Sable Street right nearby. They could just jump on Sable and take off. So that's kind of what I, think happened, just based on the independent journalists and the great researchers out there, the ones who are really looking at what really happened, not just what have they told us, you know, because we can look at just what they told us, but let's also look at the same facts that they're looking at without their commentary. So they say, well, A, B, C, D happened. Okay, well, what is that based on? It's based on these certain facts. So, well, just give me those certain facts and I'll make my own judgment. I'll come to my own conclusion about it. So, when you have a police chief, when the chief of this city says that there's nothing funny here, there was only one shooter within a couple hours, yeah, that raises some questions. You start to really wonder, well, how is he so sure? He's not even sure if this guy and his girlfriend broke up, or he's not sure if he even had a girlfriend. He's not sure about anything from the past, but he's sure about this, something that happened within 60 to 90 seconds. How can you be so sure when there is at least three to four, at the very, very least, three to four people who were there in the theater that say that maybe it was possible that there was a accomplice, maybe there was a second shooter, and the lack of evidence that they've shown us to prove that it was only one shooter and only James Holmes is kind of baffling, and it does kind of make you wonder, well, maybe there is more to it. And if you're not, if it's that thing where you just think, well, that's a conspiracy theory, I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to touch that because I don't want to be labeled like that. That is their plan, that is their purpose, that's what they do. And you say, well, who's they? They is whoever you want it to be, the global government, the evil one, the ones who follow the devil, the Illuminati. We could go on and on. To everybody, it's something different, probably. But whatever it is, there is a power. There is something out there, an evil power that is trying to control the whole world through a global government. And it is coming. Whether it's here or not, we can talk about that. But it is going to come. It is going to happen. It is written, but it is also written that we're going to stand strong and that we're going to fight it. And that's where we need people like you. We need you people. We need as many people to just start looking at these things. Make sure you're not just trusting the media. And remember, when your friends and your family start trusting media, make sure that you try to present them an alternative view that maybe they haven't seen yet. And maybe they'll bring one to you that you haven't seen yet either. So it's just about sharing these things and not feeling scared, not feeling weird that, well, I'm not going to talk about a second shooter because maybe then I'm going to be labeled as this, I'm going to be labeled as that. I hate labels. I hate labels. I hate categories. I hate generalizing people. I hate any of that, you know. The only reason I call myself a Christian is because it is in the Bible and it is written where the Christians were first called Christians. And I don't know if it was in a positive way or if it was in a negative way, but I know that the Bible is very clear about that. The Bible is also very clear about who rules this world. And it is not us, it is not humans. We do not rule this world. This world is beyond us, and this world is temporary. So in another sense, in a spiritual sense, this world is beneath us. This is just a temporary place where we are. We're not going to always be here. Um, this is a test, and you are being tested right now, and you can pass that test, and chances are you already have. You can help others pass that test too. Love, peace, those are two of the most biggest things, but those cannot come without truth. You will have no love, you will have no peace if you don't have truth. If you're not being truthful to yourself, and if you're not being truthful to others, there will be no truth. Therefore, it'll be hard to love, it'll be harder to find peace. It's still possible, because with God, anything is possible. With Christ, anything is possible, but it's not easy. Um, so the easy route that we can take is to choose God, is to choose Jesus Christ. And that's what I hope that everybody here will do and will see that that is what we really need to be doing. We have a journey that we're all on, obviously, and I just want to make sure that I'm able to follow through with my journey that I'm supposed to be on. The shooting is really, really weird though, because the more you look at it, the more it does look like a Sirhan thing. And then I don't know if it's his father or his grandfather, James Holmes' father. It sounds like it's his father who is set to testify in some banking scandal or something. So I'm definitely looking more into that. We need to get that out. Um, yeah, but even just looking at just what the media has told us, the fact that their story changed when the story was first reported. You have to remember that's usually when you get the most real information because it's very, very raw and it's just coming out. Some people might say, well, that's usually where you get the worst. But you look at September 11th, you look at the Oklahoma City bombing, you look at JFK, look at some of the early reports of the conspiracies, even UFOs, even, you know, Area 51. Just look at some of the early reports of these things and then see how the story changes and see why it changes. Okay, well, you know, the chief said that first there was one. He didn't say that there was two shooters, but early reports said that police were looking for a second person, which I do believe the second person was the one who was probably wounded or something, and had that big blood path leading away from James Holmes's car. If you notice, there's no blood path leading to his car, and why would there be? Because he was the shooter. Nobody had said that he shot back, that anybody shot back. Why does the blood trail go off down Sable Street, heading north of the picture that we've all seen? You see where the Washington Post places the gas mask. Why would James Holmes go with the gas mask and then come back? Obviously, somebody was picked up somewhere. Police were there early, it seemed like, but then later on it seemed like they didn't show up till 4 minutes later, according to some news reports. But witnesses, when they were leaving Theater 9 and possibly the whole building, were saying that police were already there telling them to get down, you know, telling them this and that. So you have to look at that too. But what I do know is that their story changed, and the news reported one thing when the story started, and they reported something else once it evolved, basically. So I don't know why it changed. More facts came out. Okay, well, where are those facts? You know, what are the facts that led you to think, yeah, that there were two suspects and all of a sudden there was only one? Why? Based on what? What were the facts that led you to think that there were two? Was it the eyewitnesses who said that there were two? That this guy might have been working with someone? Was it the people who said, no, it was only one person? Well, we have the same thing on September 11th, where you have witnesses who were placed there. You know, they were propped there, and they were put there to say that all the buildings fell because of structural, damage, and because it was so hot that they had to have just fallen. That's never happened, so we know that's not true, and that doesn't explain Building 7. So definitely, with something like this, and the timing of it, the fact that they're pushing for more gun regulations in the UN is also strange too. So you have to look at all of these things before you just say, oh, well, it was only James Holmes. It was just a nut. It was just this. We can't trust our media like that. And if you're watching this, you probably don't. But the ones who aren't there yet, the ones that you hear still talking about the official story and still saying that this guy was just some nut or this, what do they base that on?